Actually, before we start the panel on risk, I can't resist a question to Dr. Arvind Gupta, which is, can you tell us a little bit, can you give us some insight into our Honorable Prime Minister's usage of technology? How does he use it?
Oh, it's not a small question, it's a big question. See, I think again, it is in some people who take to technology because they enjoy it. I think our Prime Minister is one of such persons. He uses technology because he enjoys using it, he understands it. I think it was 98 or 99, or maybe even before that. I met him somewhere, not in India. He was this time not even the Chief Minister. He did two things which changed my interaction with him. One is he sat with me for half an hour. I have a deep background from the, building the internet community way back in college in 1992 to 1995. We were part of the team that built the browser. He sat with me and said, "Ye dikhao mujhe, ye internet kya hota hai? What does it do? What is a browser?" And this is way back, 96, 97, I would say. For half an hour, he sat there and he understood how you connect to the internet, how you work on the internet, and what is a browser, what does it mean. So, he takes very great interest in that. During that trip, he actually bought a digital camera. The first time I ever saw somebody buying a digital camera, very expensive during those times. For us CIOs, we would remember that a scanner used to cost $1,000, today probably a couple of dollars. A digital camera was also probably of that range. He bought a digital camera and said, "Now I want to take this back to India and I want to use this because it can take photographs and store it and I can connect my computer with it. So it will be digitized forever, I don't have to worry about it." So, here is some person who understands technology, understands and loves it and embraces it. I think it's in his DNA. So, he's very comfortable with it. And it makes him connect with the young much better than all of us do.
Thanks so much. That's wonderful, wonderful insight to hear. So coming back to our topic, it's a little bit risky actually, this topic on risk. Because all of us in IT, as we know, risk is something of a dirty word. It has to be avoided or mitigated. But today, it's very interesting that we are talking about this topic. So can I ask all of you, what is the one risk that you took that really paid off? And on the flip side, what is the one risk that you took that didn't pay off so well, but was still worthwhile maybe? Anyone who wants to?
Can I start?
Yes.
I hope you can hear me. I think the one risk I took was being a batsman because it was a one-ball game. and if I would have been a fast bowler, or rather a spinner, I would have had 20 or 30 overs to bowl during the day, and obviously 120 or 180 chances to be successful. But when you're a batsman and you're playing test cricket or one-day cricket, it's one ball. So I think that was a huge risk. But it's the way you look at it in life. Sport teaches you a lot of good things, and I'm sure business teaches you a lot of good things, because nothing in this life is certain. There's no guarantee in anything in life. Because at some stage your performances, your selections, your outcome is influenced by people. I think it's the way you look at it. Either you look at it as a risk or you look at it as an opportunity. And if you don't look at it as an opportunity, you won't be successful. And if you look at it as a risk, you might fail. So it's just the way you look at it. And I think life is about looking at your own perspective. When you take guard and stand in front of the fastest bowler in the world, and for me, I've played for India for 15 years. The fastest bowler I faced was Shoaib Akhtar. There were two ways of thinking. You took guard and you felt that if he hits you, what would happen? And you took guard and said that even if he bowls quick, I'll stand up. And I think that's a very fine line, and that's the line between being successful and a failure. And I think that's what makes a successful person in any aspect of life, not just in sport.
Share a risk that didn't.
Loads of them. Getting Greg Chappell as coach of India didn't.
Gaurav, go ahead. The risk that, as I said, it's a winner take it all, right? I mean, the risk that paid off for me was leaving a cushy in the sense that it was a set career in technology. Leaving that and walking into office in the Lutyens zone of Delhi, which was crumbling down, then office called the BJP head office, 11 Ashoka Road, and saying, I'm going to build something, technology backbone of this party. Where people said, you know, he's come in, he's volunteering his time, how much damage can he do? You know, let him do whatever he's doing. And least that they realize that this is going to be the thing that, you know, in the future was embraced by the Prime Minister, and we not only raised money, we are a cash flow positive organization, if you call us. We raised money for the campaign, we raised volunteers, we raised people, and you know, it was a risk in my career that I guess did pay off. So from a risk-taking perspective, it's been a great risk. Had we not won the elections this 5 years, I don't know how would I have explained in my resume if I ever make one. So it is a risk to definitely. On the flip side, the risks that did not pay off, I think there are many. We trusted a lot of teams to let's say build individual setups, replicate. So the way the country works, and all of us know, is a federal system. You have a central government, and then you have a lot of state governments. We tried to do the similar setups in states. That, you know, the team that I was leading at the national level, I said, you know, we need to replicate such units all across country. It was a big risk getting people who we thought could dedicate their lives, effortlessly to building a party, a country, building something that didn't work out very well. I can share today because we felt there was a capacity problem throughout the country. We failed building high quality teams throughout the country. Something that we have solved now, but I think something that didn't work out very well.
Unfortunately, I just don't have examples of these guys. So, no, I mean, I think, back to the conversation that Sourav ended with was this whole dynamic people management, right? John Wright and Sehwag, and that dynamic and courage of conviction from a leadership standpoint is key. I think about 1.5 years ago, when I took over this role, came across a person who had a really bad reputation with my boss, as well as my dotted line boss, who happens to be, one's the chief commercial officer of Dell, manages our entire 100% of our revenue. The other one is the chief marketing officer of Dell. They did not like this person. They wanted him changed. And just going through the motions of understanding some of this person's frustrations with the role he was in, working very closely with him, changing the role, and transforming his behavior from, at one point in time, that was hated by other people, to now being lots of people being huge proponents. I think that I would classify as, from a leadership standpoint, probably the greatest risk that paid off. And again, since I don't make as critical decisions as these guys do, the biggest risk that that didn't pay off is probably, about 1 year ago I turned 41. I decided to play football with a bunch of 22-year-olds, sprained my ankle, got overexhausted, almost passed out, just didn't pay off very well.
Thank you so much. Okay, we can open it for the audience as well. Questions from the audience? Can we dim the lights a little bit? Sir is there in front. You have some mics?
Please. Parade a bit more. Because I came and spoke to Javagal Srinath, almost every ball in 1 over. He Jav pitch it up, and he kept bowling short, and Ricky Ponting kept hitting it in the stands. So that's the problem you face in managing skilled people. And And that's the problem I faced in managing some of my bowlers as well. It all looks hunky-dory from outside. You know, I remember an incident. We were in Australia in 2003, the best ever tour India has ever had in Australia. And I was fortunate enough to be captain. The first test in Brisbane, we'd got a big score in 450 odd. I had got 100 in the first test. So Hayden had come out to bat and I had set a field for Zahid Khan. Hayden was a bit susceptible to the short ball and it was a quick pitch at the Gabba. So I told Zach, let's have a deep fine leg. Let's have a deep square leg. I'll have one square leg and I'll just have two slips. So you know what I want you to do is keep bowling short at Hayden because invariably he'll play the hook shot. So I stood at mid-on as a captain and I was pretty close up to him. Zach said, fine, everything's okay. He runs up, the first ball he pitches it up and swings it away. So he walks back to his bowling mark, I didn't tell him anything. Next ball he again pitches it up and swings it away. So I come and tell him, Zach, I've got a deep fine leg, I've got a deep square leg, and I have a square leg next to the umpire and I want you to pitch short. He said, yeah, everything's fine, don't worry, I'll do it. Next ball again he goes and pitches it up. So I walk up to him and say that if you want to pitch it up, you tell me, I'll change the field because it's not only there are about 50,000-60,000 people watching in the ground, there are a few millions in India watching in the ground, watching on TV. So he said, no, don't worry. I'm just trying to find a way to get him out. I said, what we thought was the way to get him out was bowl a short delivery. And the entire 6 deliveries of the over he pitched up, he took his cap and went to the fine leg fielder and I didn't even have a word with him. So sometimes we go through this, that at times you stand at mid-off, give instructions to bowlers and they do exactly the opposite. And I've faced some of them. Javagal Srinath was top in the list because he always did the opposite thing what you told him. And it was not just me, it was Tendulkar also. I remember Tendulkar once coming at the Wanderers after the test match and he said, I'm going to drop Srinath. I said, what has he done? He said, whatever I tell him, he does exactly the opposite. So I tell him, you tell the opposite, he'll do the correct way. So we go through all this in man management and I thought more than us playing pole, that it was a terrific Australian side, I think. We speak about the West Indies of the 70s, but this Australian side, mid 90s till mid 2000 was the best cricket side I've seen.
I think there's a lesson in that, what he spoke about, which is in terms of how do you handle your people, especially the ones who don't seem to respond to instruction or seem to be failing because of various reasons. Do you
and
give
some
them
who are mad.
Huh?
And there are some who are mad like Srinath. So how do you handle them?
So what would both of you have to say about it? What's your style of managing people?
See, when we do certain things at scale and there is so much at stake, what we realized is that everybody thinks they have their own mind and they're using their own mind. So to a certain extent, firmness matters. But finally, it's again, the example that Sourav gave about John Wright, and it's a leadership of a different nature. So, here is a team of 11 people, they all think they are leaders. Right, and to manage them and to manage their egos, there's
a difference. When clever people think like leaders, it's fine. People who don't have enough brains think like leaders, then it's a problem.
I have no comments on that, Dada.
And the difference between him and me is he's got about how many? 100 million to choose? I had 15 to choose. So dumber the 15, the more tougher for the captain.
So you can't take it away from that, but definitely I think the challenge always with people like us we face is that where everybody start thinking that they we may think they are clever or not clever, but they think they are very clever, and that's the bigger problem. And I think managing that set of folks is a challenge always. And true leadership really comes out when you can put them in a queue and get them to work together, at least 10 out of those 11.
Gaurav, you want
I think exactly that, which is, you got to give them a shot, you got to explain where you're coming from, and at some point in time you have to cut them off if they're not willing. Like I totally understand Mr. Tendulkar's reaction at some point in time. Now, it's easier for us to make some of those decisions because you're not dealing with celebrities all the time, right? I mean, and big stars and superstars, but the fact is, you got to try to explain to them where you're coming from. You got to give them a shot, and if it doesn't work out, you got to go your own way.
ODI team, let's say. Think so?
Who else
I
has a
have one
question?
question.
Total, if you count.
Sir,
My question is
Your
for
caps say some
Dr.
number, right?
Arvind.
But that's for test cricket, right?
there's a question for you.
Sorry.
My question is for Dr. Arvind. First of all, congratulations for leading Digital India campaign. Thanks to you, thanks to our Prime Minister, who has initiated this very good project. Every day we hear one or other initiative under Digital India campaign. We are making a lot of digitization. All government offices are being digitized, Aadhaar card, all those things. I think it is a very good initiative because it will make government offices efficient. It will curb corruption, all those good points. But on the other hand, you are consolidating all the critical data, biometric, bank account number, all personalized data, collecting it and keeping it at a central place. It's very critical. On the one side, even government websites, including Digital India's websites, are vulnerable. So what are your initiatives to, keep secure all those critical data?
Security discussion of data security and discussions on that. But to answer your question, and more feedback is welcome on that. That's something that this community should contribute in building a secure private data network or a data cloud that we want to build in this country. But I think we have done that for the rest of the world. India and Indians have built the best and the most secure solutions globally. The Aadhaar project, which is a great project, we are continuing with that. It has shown that we can build technology to a scale. Aadhaar today has 860 million records. So, with very little data breaches that have ever happened there. So, I think India is getting ready to build projects of scale which are absolutely secure. But having said that, there's nothing called foolproof security, right? And you and me know that better. We are open to thoughts in that. Secondly, I think this is something that I don't know whether any of you saw the Digital India launch that the Prime Minister did. I think India needs to lead the world on cyber security, on security. And one of the things that the world is looking upon us is how do we take cyber security as one of the problems to be solved for the entire world. And the world is looking towards. So I think we need to do a lot of these projects in a manner that they become the best practice and the template globally. But your point is well taken.
I have a follow-up question. The most eminent CIOs in the country this week. How do they participate? How do they help you in this initiative?
I think that's a very valid point. We need to engage a lot more with these forums. And I'm glad you asked that, Tapan, because what happens is that, and with due respect to Dell, I have to put an exception there. What happens is a lot of vendor community, they try to contribute a lot to the government because fortunately or unfortunately there is some interest that they have in mind in the future, that if the architecture becomes this, they will benefit, if not today, tomorrow. But I think this is the community that uses such technology. They know the best of it. We're trying to put CIOs in all departments. We are trying to put the architecture for the country, for departments, for ministries. We would be happy to engage with this community who have been practitioners, are coming with no vested interest, with no product or commercial interest in mind. They're looking at what could be the best thing to do in terms of architecture. So very open to hearing and engaging on a constant basis. So
That'll be great. So if you can get like somebody in your office, if you can share their ID with us,
I'll do that. So.
Thank you so much.
But thanks for that offer.
Yes,
and
yes,
I'm glad I
sure
came.
many
So
of us will be happy.
please come forward, share, and we'll be happy to use your thoughts. Let it be security, projects of scale, anything like that. So
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sir.
I'm taking it further forward from what Mr. Garg has said, is you know that in Digital India campaign, the biggest challenge is the education. It is not only the infrastructure. How you want to get the CIO community associated in this campaign? Do you have some idea?
If I understood the question correctly, you're talking about skills.
Skill development.
The skill development, and that is, see, Digital India will not be successful without skilling India, right? And I think the two programs were launched within 2 weeks of each other because of that understanding. See, one thing I do want to assure this community is, it is not that these programs or any of these programs are being launched just there's a hype and these programs are launched. There's a very well thought out programs. I call them, for example, the Digital India program. First of all, by being named Digital India, has got the mind share across India. The awareness campaign has been very good. People are talking about it. It's percolating down to the last levels. But more than that, it's a most comprehensive program. It talks about 3 or 4 components that people, apart from the digital side, need to understand. There is a Make in India component of that. Till the time that, and there is an infrastructure component to that. Till the time the fiber is laid out, you know, the villagers won't get empowered. There is a Make in India. How do you make low-cost devices in India? How do you ensure that the cost of ownership, which is just not of the connectivity, but also of the device, really is affordable to a common man of India? There is a component of health and education on how do you use technology to solve the health and education problems of the country. And then there is a component of education in that, skilling. The whole concept of National Digital Literacy Mission and Skill India is linked to that. And we have come out with a term called digital literacy, and we are doing certifications in digital literacy where, you know, companies like Dell, for example, Intel, they're all participating. A digitally literate person need not be alphabetically literate, and that is happening throughout. We see our villagers today. We see a lot of farming community using technology without knowing, without having passed out high school, for example. But they're using technology probably in this real case in the best way. So the whole concept of digital literacy is coming about.
Well, I mean, I think that's a very fair point. Look at a child's mind, right? I mean, my daughter, who's 5 years of age, knew how to operate her iPad when she was 2 years of age. She didn't start to learn writing till she was closer to 4. Right? So it's just exactly that. Digital education does not equal literacy per se, but it's important.
And given India's languages that we have, we are looking at how we can make the Google Voices and the Siris for low-cost phones also. That's one of the areas that a lot of technology institutions like CDOT and CDAC are working in. That can we have voice-enabled keyboards, right, on the smartphones. So there's a lot of thought that has gone in because, as you rightly said, sir, we need people who are not digitally literate even to type and do a search, but want to know the weather, and you see kids doing that today. You know, they say weather in Delhi, and you will get the Google Voice to search and give you the answer. Now that may not be affordable to every Indian. Plus the languages, he may not know the English to talk to Google Voice or know Hindi even to talk to Google Voice. So how do you solve that? Those are the localizations we need to do for Digital India and are working on. We are not only we need to do, we are actually in the path to solve that problem.
Hi.
That's great.
Yeah, the question
Also,
here.
I wanted to ask, sorry, just one second. How digital is the Indian cricket team? Are they using a lot of technology?
Yeah, it is digital. They use a lot of technology for sure, but the human element in sport is so much because at the end of the day, it's about his individual skills which transform opportunities into performances. As a batsman, it's your physical movement. Sport is very physical, whether it's cricket, whether it's football, whether it's athletics, whether it's sprinting, and in sport. Outside influences is prohibited to enhance your performance in whatever format it may be. It could be drugs, it could be performance enhancers, it could be technology. So technology takes you to a certain distance in sport. If you make a mistake, you go back and use your computers and and use your systems, your data to see when you've played well and what you did when you played well. But the percentage of your physical and your mental strength taking over the game is about 80%.
And can I make a comment on that? How many of you have seen the movie Moneyball? If not, please do see it. It's something that some of the IPL managers a lot. How do you use advanced analytics to select your team? And I know Venki Mysore shared his case study that he is using it. Joyjeet, I think, who was running the Calcutta team, was sharing some deep analytics they do on Excel and all. But there's a lot of analytics and the money balling that is happening in cricket also now. Secondly, I'll share an anecdotal experience with you. One of the big challenges we were facing while getting into elections was, you know, and I could not understand that. I do understand. I could not come to terms with it. Is that till today, if you see, all the Bollywood actors and actresses and the cricketers are followed more than the top leaders of this country on Twitter or on Facebook. The Prime Minister has changed that a little bit, but you see the second after the Prime Minister, the difference is huge. And they are more, I mean, there is a lot more demand for cricket and Bollywood content than any political thing. So they were an inspiration for us. How do you break into how they go out to the consumer, to the youth, and connect with them? And believe me, we've done a lot of studies how cricketers and how Bollywood, professionals have such a great following, and they have tremendous following if you follow them on Twitter or on Facebook, and I follow all of them just to learn from them.
We had a gentleman in the center asking a question since you just started off.
We have a system like Aadhaar. Almost 70 to 80% population is covered. Can't we have a system like, let's say I need a passport. I need not to fill any document. I just go to the passport office. I give my Aadhaar number. My bank is already linked to that. I just give my biometrics there to validate, and I should get the passport immediately. Or maybe a driving license, maybe a PAN card, any public distribution like that.
Sir,
I'm sorry, that's going to be the last question. I just had to announce.
That is the whole digital locker system that we are introducing, and hopefully that will percolate down to passports, to everything else. That once verified, always verified. You create documents which are verified and use that for everything else. The government really is backing Aadhaar to be the technology backbone for unique identification. So I think that answers your question. So your LDAP server is your Aadhaar server now, right? In your language.